That's right, ladies and gentlemen. How's it going out there in the world for all of our automotive professionals? Welcome to Car Motivators Live. I'm one of your hosts and the Director of Marketing for Car Motivators, Chas Kelly. And today we are going to start a series of things, different types of content. Starting with today, we're going to start doing our coaching questions of the week in a live setting where we literally bring our coaching question of the week to you on the socials, wherever you consume video live. Right now, I want to bring in our one of our very own senior variable ops coach at Car Motivators. He's an amazing marketing guru. He's been in the business for a long time. His name is Mr. Chris Spalding. Chris, how you doing?
What's up, Chaz? Great to be here with you tonight, my friend.
Absolutely, man. So, Chris, before we get into we already explained that, we're going to be doing this, the coaching question of the week and start doing more live content, bringing them more, instead of them coming to us, we're bringing the live content to them about coaching the car business. And so before we get kind of into the coaching question of the week, just give you a chance to introduce yourself and talk a little bit about what you've experienced in your career and how you plan to shape your career in the future.
Awesome. Yeah, Chaz, thank you for the great introduction there. As he said, I've got a pretty good amount of varied experience, which makes my job here so fun. In that, had a pretty good background. I've had a computer company successful for several years. I've owned a martial arts school for several years. I've had a lot of chance to experience business in different settings. And when I came to the car business in 2006 or 2007, I tried to figure out how I could make this a business in and of itself. And what I finally found after years and years is that, wow, coaching is the way to go, because now I get to share what I have learned and help people become the best that they can become. And really, coaching is the way to do it. And our company, that's what we focus on, is helping everybody find the success that they want within the car business.
Absolutely, man. It's something we always talk about amongst ourselves, all of these questions we ask ourselves internally, like, how do we help certain people? We always hear about certain individual things that are happening in certain dealerships or certain rooftops. Everybody's got a unique struggle, right? And so how we wanted to start this, and today we're kind of segueing right into today's coaching question, right? Is that the most common question we get at Car Motivators, and Chris, you can vouch for this, is our coaching question of the week. What is the difference between coaching and training, right? So we always talk about coaching and we always combat that versus training. And, we talk to GMs all the time. It's like, oh, why I have a trainer? And it's like, that's great that you have a trainer, but do you have a coach, right?
Yeah,
so let's talk a little bit about that. Let's unpack this a little bit. And so in your coaching question of the week, in your eyes, in your mind, what is the biggest difference between coaching and training?
Well, and I think this is a great place for us to start too. And if I can step back too, and what I wish for everyone to do through the course of these lives that we're doing in these sessions, is that people can see these questions and they can, number one, jump on with us and ask us questions if we're live and you can catch it. But if you do see the recording, think about how you can use what we talk about in your direct situation. See how you can maybe learn something from us and or some questions that might be posed throughout the course of the conversation, and ask yourself, how can I utilize what I see here to become better at what I'm doing? So I love this as the place we're going to start, is what's the difference between coaching and training? And I think on the flat level, the easiest place to start would be to say, training is telling someone the answers and giving someone the answers and saying, do this, this, and then this. Where I think coaching is so strong because you actually get to look at something from an outside perspective, not related to the situation, and say, what do you think would be the right thing to do here? Because a lot of times people have within them what they need already to be successful. They just haven't figured out how to make it happen. In other words, they may have the knowledge to solve the situation, but they can't see the label from being inside the jar sometimes. So that perspective of being outside the situation and having a third eye above. I mean, if you think about it, if you're a sports fan, every sports athlete has had a coach. If you're a music fan, there's music coaches, there's singing coaches, there's performance coaches and business coaches. And again, the biggest difference is a trainer is going to tell you to do this, this, and this. A coach is going to say, is this the best situation for you? Because not every piece of advice doing this, this, and this is going to fit for every situation. Exactly.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you. I actually look at it as well I actually have a kind of a philosophy on this in terms of the main difference between coaching and training. And my thing is like every time I've been a part of a training, it's always felt like a cookie cutter one size
Oh, absolutely.
approach.
So
It's
agree with
always
that.
felt like a one size fits all approach
Yeah.
to trying to empower your team or trying to get everybody to follow a certain line of thought, certain line of thinking, or
Mhm.
a certain line of leadership. Whereas coaching is addressing each teammate individually and
That's right.
assessing their individual needs, because when it comes down to it, every human being is a unique person, right?
That's right.
And
That's
so
right.
the training that they may receive, they may not receive that as well as, say, another person on the
Mhm.
staff. So what the other person on the staff looks at is, wow, that was awesome. Another person on the same staff may say, man, I really didn't get much out of that. I don't really know
That's
what
right.
they were trying to do with that, right?
That's right.
And where the coaching side of it comes in is you get a coach, whether it's an automotive coach or a leadership coach or whatever, and you get them to assess your situation,
Mhm.
right? And then they constructively create this curated regimen for you
Mm.
specifically. And one thing I also think that matters very intently is that coaching focuses on your goals, not
That's
the
right.
goal, not like, and I want to say your goals specifically, not the goals of the dealer, not the goals of the OEM. It focuses on what you want to achieve while also keeping those other goals in mind, right? It's
Right.
aligning the personal goals to the OEM goals, to the
That's
to
right.
the dealer goals, and not just saying, "Hey, here's the dealer goals, find a way to figure it out."
Mhm.
You know?
And I
So
love
I've
that you
always thought that was a really, really unique way of looking at it. It's a customized approach, not a one size fits all. When I
right.
put on my clothes every day, I don't have a one size fits all. Like each brand has a different, I'm a bigger guy, so
Right.
each brand has a different definition of XL. You know what I mean?
That's
Like
right.
it's
Mhm.
the same thing with coaching. Like it's gonna look different on every person.
That's right. And what I attribute this to is just as you said a minute ago, every person is different and has a different situation. Well, the same can be said for the culture of a dealership. Every
Yeah,
dealership has its own culture. And if a trainer comes in and says, here's how you should do it. Here's what we think you should do. Well, what if that culture that they're trying to install doesn't fit for everybody on your team? Is that really going to, push you guys forward or maybe cause more confusion and chaos in the situation?
sure. And I also think that there's got to be something said about accountability, right? So
That's right.
when I think about training, and I don't knock, there's great trainers out there that do wonderful jobs, but like there's like this sense of checking a box
Yeah.
when hiring a trainer.
Mhm.
Like, okay, I trained my team, what's next, right?
Yeah.
Whereas hiring a coach, there's a sense of accountability from the top down, right?
Mhm. That's
A
right.
coach is going to look at the GM and the GSM and say, hey, if you guys don't want the culture to change, it's not going to change,
That's
right?
right.
And they're going
Mhm.
to hold them accountable for that. Like, hey, if you want to achieve these goals, if you want to achieve this status for your rooftop, like you've also got to put in the work as well. And you got
That's
to
right.
hold yourself to the same
Mhm.
standards that you're holding everyone else to. And a
Mhm.
coach is going to be there to kind of check that. And I think that's what's unique about what we see in our industry, right? Is that you can tell the difference between the dealers that have been coached and the
Oh,
dealers that have just hired trainers. Um,
absolutely.
what do we always see, right? The dealers that have only hired trainers in the past, they quote unquote have all the answers. They have nothing they need to work on,
That's right. But
and
yet
they're
nothing
struggling
changes.
to meet but they're struggling to meet their
Right.
deadlines, and they're struggling to meet
Mhm.
their goals.
That's right.
Versus what do you okay, Chris, you're coaching a ton of dealerships now. What's the number one you see in a coach dealership that's so different from that?
If I could lay it out as to one thing, dealerships that understand and they embrace the coaching environment, they don't come to the table with, I know the answers, get my numbers better. They come to the table and they say, well, we think we should be performing at this level, but we can't quite figure out where we're missing the mark. Can you help us look at this from an objective point of view and help us look at ideas how to make things better? And they're thinking about how everybody in the building can be better. And I think one of the ways I describe what you're speaking of is if you take a couple circles like a Venn diagram, over here you have what the dealership needs, right? But over here, you could have what the employee wants. And if you can help align with what the employee wants with what the dealership needs, and you find that middle spot, that's the area for success. Because now you're giving people a reason to be successful and understanding what's important to them. And when you do that, if you align that to what the dealership needs for success, you got a good chance of cracking the code and making it work.
Absolutely. And it's just as we wrap up the coaching question of the week, obviously this is our first ever endeavor, so we're not taking any questions or anything today, but we will be in the future
Mhm.
taking questions live from folks. We want to get people involved and engaged in this, and ask questions as we go. But just as a starter, right? From a coaching perspective, and from a, let's just call it, an automotive professional perspective, right? Um, what has been the biggest what has been the biggest, dare I say, win, or what's been one of the biggest changes for the better or positives that you've seen come out of coaching versus training in your experience?
That's such a it's a great question and deserves a great answer. But the easiest thing to say would be, people have a preconceived notion when a trainer comes in, and what they usually say is, I've already heard this before. This has been going on since Joe Verdi and people before him, and it's all going to be the same. What does this person have to say I haven't already heard before? The difference and the biggest win that I see when people understand coaching is that they're able to look at their situation and say, am I exactly reaching my potential? Am I getting where I
Mhm.
want? Am I getting what I want from this business? And if not,
Right.
what is it first? Discover, and we use a term called the GPS to figure out exactly what it is you want. Because when you know specifically what you want, you got a better chance of making it happen. In fact, I'm a big fan of Zig Ziglar, as I'm sure we've all heard before. One of his famous sayings I always like to quote is, "If you aim for nothing, you'll hit it every time." That's the biggest thing I love about coaching, is that unfortunately most people don't really know what they're trying to even accomplish. Even dealerships, for that matter, just they want to sell
Right.
more and make more money, but there's so much more to it than that.
Right. A lot of times when we find you know, fellow leaders and frontline employees in the car business, we find that they are essentially broken arrows. Like, they're trying to
Mhm.
achieve something, but they have no idea what the target is.
That's right.
And every time they pull that bow back and they shoot, they never make the target because they're not really sure what they're looking at.
Yep.
What I love about the coaching side of the car business is that we're able to help them not only shape the target but also repair the arrow, right? it's
Exactly right.
it's it's not just about knowing where they want to go, but it's also giving them the tools,
Hmm.
empowering them with the tools to get there.
That's
you
right.
know One of my favorite things about winning, in my coaching experience in the car business, is at the end of the day, when you get that moment where you hear some, whether it's a frontline employee or a manager, they come back, they text you or they call you and they say, "Man, I can't thank you enough.
Yeah.
I had no idea, the amount of potential that was there, or had you had not shown me this, I would have never discovered that. And now I'm looking forward to making." They're taking ownership of it all of a
Hmm.
sudden. And
That's right.
what's one thing we say all the time, right? If they own it, they'll act on it, right?
That's right.
And that's anytime you get that sense of ownership from someone who otherwise didn't even like believe in what you were doing,
That's right.
you've made an impression and a change for the better in somebody's life. And
That's right.
hopefully that transcends on to other decisions they make in their life, and ultimately becomes a chain reaction of eliminating bad habits and generating great habits.
Hmm. Hmm. And I love
Absolutely.
to bring back to a quote that our CEO Sean Kelly speaks about often, is that unfortunately a lot of times in dealerships the agenda is either given to you by, they're either yelling at you, telling you, or selling you on it, rather than helping you explore how you could make things happen. Get to this number, get to this growth, sell this many units, and that's it. Nothing around how do you
I
think we
feel
could
like we've all
actually
been
make it.
there.
Oh, and it's one of the most frustrating things I think we've all been through in the past. So when I get to see a dealer see the light and maybe change their thoughts on that, and now empower their team to figure out, hey, how do you think we can get to this goal this month? What have we done? What do we need to do? And how can we execute on it? When that happens, I love seeing the light bulbs go on. For me, at my stage in my career, it's the most rewarding thing I could be looking to do. Honest to God.
Well, speaking of things we're looking forward to doing in the future, right? Guys who are, everybody, all of our professionals out there, guys and girls in the car business, we are going to be doing a lot more of this, and we're going to
Mhm.
have a lot more fun with this. And we're going to
Yeah,
have, today was a kind of a softball difference between coaching and training, but we really want to answer your questions, right? So feel free to send us questions. And, if this is obviously the opportunity to plug, right? Like and subscribe, right? Like
Mhm.
our
That's right.
LinkedIn, like our Facebook page, subscribe to our YouTube page. You know, Instagram, at Car Motivators. Instagram is at the Car Biz Coach, and we will gladly, take all your questions.
That's
We
right.
love to interaction. We love to engage with other motivators out there who have the questions to help their, car experience, their career experience better in the car business. And so,
Right.
all that to say, before we go, want to make a big plug for our man Sean Kelly, since we mentioned him.
Mhm.
Guys, if you haven't grabbed it already, you need to grab a copy of Learn to Coach, Learn to Lead by Sean Kelly.
Oh,
Honestly, there's one right there. Look,
yep.
I'm not going to say it's just because it's a beautiful cover, because I may have designed the cover, but
I didn't know that. That's cool.
what I will say is, what's even more beautiful is the message that is inside, from cover to cover here.
That's
Guys,
right.
I literally can open this book randomly and
Mhm.
put my finger on a single sentence and start becoming empowered.
That's
That's
right.
how powerful this book is. Sean poured his heart and soul into this.
Mhm.
Our CEO, the Car Biz Coach, he's a wonderful leader. He's an incredible human being,
That's
and
right.
he will obviously be on this at some point.
Mhm.
But guys, you really need to pick up this book. You can get it on Amazon, or you get it on En Route Publishing on their website. But he's an Amazon #1 bestseller. Best place to get it is right there. Learn to Coach, Learn to Lead by Sean
Great book.
Kelly. Wanted to plug that. If you're looking to transcend your leadership into the next level, this is the next step. I'm telling
Oh,
you
and
guys.
by the way, our business is focused primarily on coaching the car business, but that book is universal, and there is information in there that could literally help anybody with any
Any
stage of
manager,
business that they're in.
any leader, any
It
older.
doesn't matter what your business is. If you sell tile, if you do roofing, if you're an architectural executive, whatever it might be, there's something in there that can help you to build yourself and your team down the road for sure.
Absolutely, guys. Well, hey, look, it's been great having you, Chris. Chris will do it again.
My
And
pleasure.
guys out there, everybody who is watching, all you ladies and gentlemen of the car business, any other businesses that are watching this that have gained any sort of knowledge from this, we thank you. Please tune in. We will come back every week with a different coaching question. Feel free to hit us up on LinkedIn, Chris Spalding, Chaz Kelly. You can find us on LinkedIn. You can find us on Facebook.
Mhm.
If you want to message us your coaching questions, send
Yeah,
them there. We'd be
right.
more than happy to interact with you and bring your coaching question on and let you. And I tell you what, we'll even let you know if your coaching question is so good. We'll even let you know that we're doing it, and then we'll let you know what date we're going to do the coaching question on.
That's
How's
right.
that
Hey,
sound?
and Chad, if someone's really lucky enough, and if we have enough encouragement to do so, we might even bring some people on here live and do some live coaching sessions once in a while. How cool would that be?
That would be so incredible. In fact,
Awesome.
I got to tell you, I mean, this is the first video, and this is kind of like our first pilot run of this, but
Mhm.
I am so excited for what's to
Absolutely.
come. I'm so excited to bring this content to people who need it,
Mhm.
and who didn't know that they needed it. And hey, man, together, let's empower the world. And you guys
Great.
out there, your contribution. Let's empower the world and make it a better place for everybody's career.
Looking forward to it. Thank you, Chaz.
Absolutely. Chris, that's Chris Spalding. He's Senior Variable Operations Coach at Car Motivators. I'm Chaz Kelly. On behalf of the business and Car Motivators Live, we thank you for joining us. We'll see you next week.
Take care, everybody. Peace.